Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey,
Hello, guys.
and the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What up, Dow?
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. And I was almost punished today because somebody almost decided to hit me with their car.
That happens to you way too often, man.
It really does. So I was walking home. Well, first off, before we get started, thank you, Point Curation. Hope you have a good show, man. Thank you, Point. I really appreciate it. So I was walking home from work. I got off a little early today because everything was kind of wrapped up. And I'm walking up the hill, and I'm walking past this one place that has this exit driveway from a parking lot. There's nothing around this parking lot, I need to note. Nothing around this parking lot. There's no trees, no shrubs, no obstructions, nothing. Okay. It was raining a little bit here, so I had my umbrella up. So I'm grown adult, broad daylight, umbrella up, walking down the sidewalk. A big truck starts coming out towards the exit driveway. Now, I hesitate as I'm coming up to where the driveway begins and the sidewalk sort of merges into it because I have a rule. I never walk in front of a car if I cannot make eye contact with the driver in some fashion, And this car has tinted windows up the yin-yang, so I can't see inside. So I start slowing a little bit. And then I anticipate the car is going to slow as it gets to the lip of the driveway up to the sidewalk. But it doesn't, and it doesn't. And then it keeps going, and then it comes to a sudden stop 3/4 of the way through the sidewalk side of the driveway. Now, if I had not stopped, if I had not paused and kept going the pace I'd been going, this person would have smacked me. No doubt at all. So I'm standing there. The window rolls down. The driver looks out at me, says, and this laughing voice says, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you."
Nice.
Now I look at this person, and then I look around at there being nothing around, broad daylight. I got an umbrella over my head. And I look at him and say, "You didn't see me. In fucking broad daylight, you didn't see me. Maybe you shouldn't be driving today." And I just walk on.
You're lucky he wasn't on his phone or something.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't know what was going on before the window rolled down. So sure. I assume the thing that irritated me the most was they didn't say I wasn't paying attention, which would have been honest. It was like I didn't see you. Like no. It's not that you didn't see. There's no excuse for not seeing me. You weren't paying attention.
What color's your umbrella?
It was black, but I mean it was broad daylight.
You need to get one that's like hunter orange.
No, it wouldn't have mattered if she couldn't see me, grown adult, wearing relative. I mean, not like I wasn't wearing like neon or something, but I was wearing like brightish clothing in the daytime. There's no way anyway, it was bullshit. Anyway, that's how my day ended. And so I got home and I was all pissed off. And then all the motivation and energy I had to actually focus on other things kind of went out the window. So we'll get into that later. But anyway, hi, chat. Hi, everybody. Hope your week ended better than mine did.
If it was black, maybe she couldn't see color.
Oh, Satsu.
I'm in that kind of mood today.
Very good. So yeah, hello everyone. How are you guys doing? How are you, Satsu?
I'm annoyed, but otherwise pretty decent.
All right. Will we get to your annoyance later on in the show?
Indeed, we will.
All right. Monkey, how are you?
I'm tired and a little bit sore. Little Butt came over. I wasn't expecting her. But she asked Grandma, "Can I wake up Grandpa?" And the rule is if she wants to wake me up, she's the only one allowed to wake me up whenever she wants me to.
Oh.
And so she comes down, hops up in my bed, and shakes me a little bit. "Grandpa, it's time to wake up." I'm like, "Okay." And I laid there, and she's playing on the bed. She goes, "Grandpa, it's time to get up." I said, "I'm up, honey." And she plays a little bit more. She goes, "Grandpa, it's time to get up." I said, "I know." She goes, "But it's taking so long." All right, I'm getting up. I'm out of bed. So that's how I woke up today. But unfortunately, that wasn't very long after I'd gone to sleep.
Yeah, and why are you so tired today, might I ask?
God, I was up until 8 in the morning streaming.
Yeah, I got to work. I got to work at 5 a.m. my time. And when I turn on my laptop at work and I start looking onto YouTube as I look for something to fill up the airtime while I'm doing my morning work and everything, I see this little notification that, oh, a Ranting Monkey stream. Like, oh, he streamed again last night, I thought.
Yep.
So I click on it, and it's live, and I'm like, the fuck are you doing awake?
Well, last night it was only a 5.5-hour stream, so it's actually shorter than the one the night before.
All right.
I'm not sure that's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if you have that much fuel in your batteries, but before we get into the usual stuff, I got to open up my Dr. Pepper. And Monkey Dick, Jim Jones movies, video games, hit that like button if you have not already, and at least 3/4 of you have not.
Hit that like button.
I'd appreciate it if you did. And share our stuff. Retweet it. Put it onto Facebook, MySpace, Napster, all the good stuff, all those things the kids are using these days. Friendster, I hear, is taken off.
Yeah. We have a birthday song to get to first. The request came in before the show. This is for little Jace. So
Jace, how old is Jace?
1.
1. I'll put on my 1-year-old voice then.
Jace, little buddy, this one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you.
Yes, I'm singing. Get over it.
Happy birthday to you.
And Squishy's laughing at me. I hope you're happy.
Happy birthday, dear Jace. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, little one. And Satsu, when you don't say something between verses, it always fucks me up, man.
Yeah, I had to we waited for you, but I just went on going.
I'm sorry.
You gotta give us a tongue click or something to let us know it's okay to go.
Tongue click?
So,
you mean like, do you know the way?
Oh dear God, that's not what I meant.
That's what you said.
Snap your fingers. How about that?
Snap your fingers. Do it all by yourself. Oh, sorry. Got a little John going on there. Thank you, Flair Fritz. Scribe tried to extort me for money on Monkey's stream this morning. No. You said that Monkey's nipples would not be safe tonight. And I thought you were referring to the previous nipple bounties on Monkey. And so I just said that if you wanted to pay to have Monkey's nipples twisted on my show tonight, by all means. Not promising it would happen, but, be fine.
Yeah, that's yesterday on the stream we did over on Satsu's channel, Flair said, if you do another stream I can't watch live, then I'm gonna hurt your nipples in the forest.
Oh. Yeah.
And then he comes on to the show, and this morning he's like, what did I tell you? I'm like, dude, you're watching it live.
Yeah.
We're doing it live. All right. Well then, let's see if there's nothing further. Shall we get into the schnuzz?
Schnuzz away.
All right. Well, how about your daily dose of Kavanaugh?
Yeah, we got to do this.
Yep. And it is in reference to the title, which I'm very proud of because I'm a punny guy. Has Monkey seen the title yet?
I don't know.
I have not. I'm looking right now.
Okay. I always have to wait for Monkey to see the title whenever I say that because I halfway do them for him.
I see what you did there.
All right.
I like that. I like that.
Kavanaugh has the votes to be confirmed to Supreme Court after Collins and Manchin commit. Brett Kavanaugh is set to become the Supreme Court justice who inaugurates a conservative majority for a generation after wavering Republicans closed ranks to give him sufficient votes for confirmation in a historic victory for President Donald Trump. The final Senate vote is expected Saturday, but enough senators have committed to backing him after a tumultuous political battle inflamed by allegations by California professor Christine Blasey Ford that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her when they were teenagers in the early 1980s. All one sentence. A dramatic and draining showdown that held Washington in thrall for weeks finally moved towards resolution when Maine Senator Susan Collins, the last undecided GOP senator, said in a combative speech on Friday afternoon that she would vote to confirm Kavanaugh, after concluding there was not sufficient corroboration for Ford's claims. Wow. Imagine that. Despite being a key player in the most partisan confirmation process in decades, Collins said she hoped Kavanaugh, a former political operative in the George W. Bush White House, would work to depoliticize the court. Bush, in fact, had spoke repeatedly to Collins over the past few weeks and reassured her about his character and temperament, a person familiar with the conversation says. Quote, so that public confidence in our judiciary and our highest court is restored, I will vote to confirm Judge Kavanaugh, Collins said in a 40-minute speech. Earlier, another GOP holdout, Arizona Senator Jeff Flake, said he would back Kavanaugh. And after Collins spoke, Senator Joe Manchin, a Democrat of West Virginia who is running for re-election in a staunchly pro-Trump state, said he would also back confirmation, speaking to reporters on Capitol Hill surrounded by protesters urging him to change his vote. One lone Republican, Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, said she would oppose Kavanaugh. The vote to confirm Kavanaugh, when it comes, will reconcile a cause that has unified and electrified the conservative movement dating to its rebirth as a modern political force led by former President Ronald Reagan? What? Wait, what?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to read that again because maybe I'm missing context here. The vote to confirm Kavanaugh, a guy who has been nominated to the Supreme Court, 30 some odd years after Reagan was in office, when it comes, will reconcile a cause that has unified and electrified the... are they talking about just like having a conservative majority on the Supreme Court?
That could be it.
Maybe that's what they mean. Okay, because I was like, what? Okay. Once Kavanaugh is seated, Chief Justice John Roberts, by no means a moderate, will become the swing vote on the Supreme Court. I don't know. Roberts is becoming more moderate as time goes by. I mean,
Roberts, he's shown to be moderate already.
Yeah, he voted for same-sex marriage, if I remember correctly. And what was the one? Oh, there was something else recent. Obamacare, right. He voted in favor of defending Obamacare. So, yeah, I mean, this is the thing that a lot of people seem to forget, is that once you're technically outside the realm of having to deal with politics, you have a lifetime appointment, you're away from all that pressure, a lot of justices, whichever side of the argument that they're on when they go in, over time, classically start drifting more towards a middle ground. Not always becoming completely moderate or going over to the other side necessarily, but becoming more, malleable to their opinions depending on the situation. So, Kavanaugh may be conservative now, whatever that means, but, give it 5-10 years and, he might be the swing vote for all you know. Let's see. This goes on for quite a while, guys, and recounts a whole bunch of stuff we've already talked about a dozen times. So, was anything surprising about this today to you, Monkey and or Satsu?
No, not at all. Even with Flake basically dragging this out another week with the FBI investigation, again, that was just a good political move. And it's actually something I'm surprised the Republicans just didn't do themselves. Manchin, there's no way he cannot vote for this. He's in West Virginia that Trump won handedly, and he's up for re-election, so he kind of has to. Yeah. Same with Murkowski. It's pretty much in her best interest to vote against. Collins was the only real wild card, and there's just no evidence. That's the problem. I watched some of Susan Collins' speech, and she did the same thing everybody said. Ford gave a really credible testimony. No, she didn't. The evidence doesn't back her up. It doesn't matter how nice you thought she sounded during, which, by the way, she sounded like shit. But I'm so tired of hearing about how credible she sounded. But yeah, it's the only thing that actually makes sense.
Satsu?
I wasn't surprised. I mean, I actually, even though it was mind-numbingly boring, I watched the count and everything for them to vote on whether or not they should continue the debate, and I checked that out. And Afterwards, I hopped online just to kind of see where everybody was at because I'm like, I know there's going to be a little bit of chaos. So I checked it out and had a couple conversations with people. And the thing that I kept hearing, surprisingly, like over and over again, was a few people kept telling me like this isn't about Ford anymore. Like, you know, you keep arguing that Ford doesn't have the proof. Fuck that. It doesn't matter if she doesn't have the proof. It's about principles. And it's the fact that he lied about liking beer or some shit. Like, they kept bringing that up for some reason. And they're like, because he lied about liking beer or getting drunk enough to pass out or some shit like that, he shouldn't be in that position because, you know, those people are incapable of lying. They don't say things that aren't true ever. And I'm like, I mean, out of all the issues that's going on, the man was accused of sexual assault. I mean, him talking about his drinking habits in high school, I think might be slightly forgivable in comparison to the issue at hand, which wouldn't have been brought up if it wasn't for the sexual assault claims. But no, that apparently people are latching on to because they're like, that's all we got left. So yeah, he's not fit. This isn't about Ford anymore. It's about principles. If you care about women, then you wouldn't even entertain the fact of having somebody who was accused there. And I don't know. I just,
yeah.
Well, if I could, I want to talk about his drinking in high school.
All right, well, real quick though, we have a birthday.
Oh, Skep Talk. Yes, we'll get to that in just a second. I saw that. Skep Talk, are you out there? Are you listening? I know you are. I can see you. By the way, you're a pretty man. You are a pretty man, and I've seen him because they did live cam at the Milwaukee thing.
Oh.
So you very pretty man. This one's for you. And one. And two. Happy birthday to you.
I ain't singing for you, Skep.
Happy birthday to you.
Everybody doesn't get one.
Happy birthday, dear Skep Talk.
But happy birthday, though.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Skep. I hope you had a great one. I really do. I want to get to the beer thing and the drinking thing real quick because I've seen this a lot. He lied about his drinking. He said in his testimony that he drank a lot of beer, sometimes to the point of excess, even to going to say, I probably drank too much. But everybody keeps going, he said he never blacked out, and that's a lie. You can't know that's a lie.
Well, yeah, dude, I said that to people like 10 times today, and they're like, no. And their defense to that was, have you ever drunken that much and not blacked out? I'm like, this ain't about me. I'm not the one who made the claim.
Yes, I have.
I'm like, are you the person? Oh my God.
I've drank so much tequila that they cut me off, and then I had somebody sitting next to me order more for me, to the point where I basically had to be carried out of that particular hotel. And I didn't lose anything. Not a fucking thing.
Well,
everybody's not the same.
The argument was that it's unlikely that that's true, so it's automatically false. And I'm just like, unless you can prove to me that that was the case, then you can say it's unlikely all you want. Yes, it does sound unlikely, but you can't disprove it.
But see,
okay, all right,
and nobody else can talk about it.
Guys. Okay. We got other stories to go to, and I've actually set aside a story that talks all about this for deep topic time. So we're going to move on for now.
Okay.
And because I know we got a lot to say and a lot of things that are passionate about, but there are other things that happened today. I want to get to those before we get to MSS news time, because I'm sure we got plenty of stories there. So, sorry to be so abrupt, but I am a format junkie.
Indeed. Go ahead.
In other news, mattress firm files for bankruptcy and will close up to 700 stores. So I guess we put that one to bed.
Well done.
I had a whole list of them on Twitter today, but I won't torch you with them all. Online reviews have replaced going to a store to lie down on a mattress. That's why Mattress Firm, America's biggest bed store, has filed for bankruptcy. The chain said it plans to remain in business, but it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection to get out of about 700 unfavorable leases. Jesus. Mattress Firm said it will quickly close 200 underperforming stores and make decisions about whether to close or maintain the other 500 locations in the coming weeks. There are more than 3,300 Mattress Firm stores in the United States. So 700 out of 3,300. That's still a lot of stores. Mattress Firm plans to exit bankruptcy in about 2 months. It hopes that the liquidity gain from the bankruptcy allows it to expand into more favorable markets and even open some new stores in existing markets. I think you need to rethink your strategy if it wasn't working out the first time. Yeah, so it's not disappearing. It just filed for protection. That's all, which, Chapter 11 isn't, it's going away necessarily. Let's see. Stores could help. Wait, Casper, what is this? Oh, I missed something here. Where'd it go? I don't know, nor do I care. Oh, let's see. The company has many stores in close proximity to one another, cannibalizing sales. It's also grappling with increasing competition from online retailers, including Casper and Amazon. What's Casper?
The friendly ghost.
Well, I know. I've never heard of what's Casper. Casper plans to open 200 stores across the United States in the next 3 years as part of an ambitious growth plan. Well, it's ambitious because I've never heard of them before. I assume they're a bed store? I've never heard of them. Blah, blah, blah. Amazon quietly rolled its own in-house brand of foam mattresses that cost a fraction rivals beds. Mean a fraction of rivals beds, CNN? Okay.
Yeah, it seems Casper is America's #1 rated mattress brand.
Well,
Asterisk.
I was about to say it's so #1. I've never heard of it before, but then I don't really buy beds on a regular basis, so even though I break a few from time to time. Oh,
nice.
Because I'm fat. No, wait, I'm not. Let's see. In other news, which might have staved off a riot, Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke found guilty of second-degree murder in Laquan McDonald killing. Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke was found guilty Friday of second-degree murder in the 2014 shooting of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald. Van Dyke, who was also found guilty of 16 counts of aggravated battery with a firearm, sat impassively in a dark suit, his shoulders slumped, as the verdicts were read in the high-profile case. At one point, he sipped water from a bottle. He was found not guilty of official misconduct. Okay. Seems like if you're using your badge and you murder somebody without cause, that sounds like something you'd be misconduct as an official, but what do I know? The officer's wife sat stoically, arms folded, as the long verdict was delivered. His father lowered his head while some members of the McDonald family held hands. Van Dyke's bond was revoked and sentencing was scheduled for October 31st. Oh, great. He was led out of the courtroom in handcuffs. Though he was originally charged with first-degree murder, jurors were instructed Thursday that they could also consider second-degree murder. The panel of 8 women and 4 men, 7 white, 1 black, 3 Hispanic, and 1 Asian, began deliberations Thursday afternoon. This is a victory for America, the Reverend Marvin... Okay, if you're going to say the Reverend and you're going to shorten it, it's a period, not a comma. The Rev, Marvin Hunter, according to this, for fuck's sake. McDonald's great uncle told reporters, America was on trial here, and people all over America and all across the world, Dan, have been waiting to see what was going to happen. What? I don't understand what CNN is doing. Either they're quoting him correctly and he's mumbling his words, or they've completely fucked up what he said. The world, Dan, have been waiting to see what was going to happen. Who's Dan?
I don't know.
Members of the jury later told reporters that Van Dyke's testimony was not credible and seemed rehearsed. The jurors, who would not give their names, said the veteran police officer did nothing to de-escalate the situation that led up to the fatal shooting. Have you guys seen the video of this?
I have not.
So, it's tough to watch, but the guy's got his back turned to the cops. He's walking away from them. And from the details of the case, this officer in particular, he pulled up to the scene, and within 30 seconds of getting there, He pulls out his gun and shoots the guy like 10 times in the back.
Was this the guy that was in the middle of the street and there were like cops all
Yes.
around him? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I have seen this one. Yes, yes.
Now, he did have a knife,
Mhm.
but he was not within striking distance of anyone, and he was moving away from the police officers. So, yeah.
I do remember that one.
Yeah, it was, so that guy, I'm curious to see what he'll get as far as sentencing at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know how I would have, voted if I was on the jury because I didn't hear all of the evidence and stuff, but it would be very hard not to convict him for something having seen that video.
Yeah. Let's see. And lastly, this isn't really a big news story. It's probably more MSS news territory, but I saw this and I couldn't help myself to pull it up. This comes from the College Fix. Make Them Scared website posts uncorroborated sexual assault claims against male students.
Yeah, I saw that.
This is, let's see. A website.
Super chat.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Duck Dog. 16 times the mag dumped on the kid. Okay.
Just emptied his mag.
That's why. Yeah, that's why there were 16 counts of aggravated assault or whatever. Yeah. Okay. A website allegedly run by University of Washington students allows individuals to publicly accuse people of sexual assault with no evidence. Well, you can do that on Facebook now or Twitter.
Yeah, this is a place where you'd go look them up specifically.
Oh. The website, titled Make Them Scared UW, was first registered in November of last year, but reportedly launched in late September of this year by University of Washington students, the daily UW campus newspaper reports. It appears that the list of accused rapists and sexual assault perpetrators has grown substantially on the site in recent weeks in the wake of the rape claims made against U.S. Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Meanwhile, one student named on Make Them Scared UW told the College Fix that the allegation is false, that the University of Washington has dismissed the allegations against him as completely uncorroborated and cleared him of any wrongdoing. Well, see, that doesn't matter because now somebody's going to carry a mattress around for the next 18 months, and you're guilty.
Yep, and got scared.
Thus far, every person named on the list is male, and their names include the school they attend. Many listed on the site appear to be University of Washington students, but as apparent word of this site has spread, students from many other colleges are now listed too. The site does not employ any mechanisms to verify the truth of any accusations it publishes, and the website's moderators attempt to protect themselves from liability or criticism by stating atop the list of the accused, quote, "Please remember, just because a name is on this list does not mean the individual is guilty. All it means is that we have received an accusation against them," unquote. And you want to make them scared.
Yep.
By
it's
the way,
fucking name of your website. You have a super chat there too.
Oh, sorry, I got two tabs open. Thank you, Point Curation. A teacher was a reverend who told stories of going to shooting ranges in Orthodox robes, getting looks. He gave up hunting when he was ordained.
Huh.
Okay. I'm a little hazy on the context. Or was that a joke?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Point. I could use a little context there. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't want to sound too bewildered, but I'm a little. Thank you. Let's see. The moderators of the website did not respond to the College Fix's repeated request for comment. The Fix sought to learn if the site's moderators had any concerns about accusations being directed at innocent people and whether or not the website has received any legal challenges for publishing unverified allegations. According to the FAQ page of the website, quote, Make Them Scared UW is a, quote, communal rape list, unquote.
Mm-hmm.
A communal rape list. It is, quote, intended to be an online hub for anyone who wants to expose the names of their attackers and harassers and to fill a gap left by inadequate treatment of those cases by formal institutions. One of our site's moderators will review your submission, verify your contact information, and after receiving your confirmation, publish the information you provided us, minus any personally identifying info. Well, any personally identifying info of the submitter,
right?
Obviously, on the list page on our site.
And that right there is what's going to get him sued.
Yeah. Quote, we do not have the ability to determine whether any accused party is guilty or innocent of the accused acts, so take all names listed with a grain of salt. Sorry, that does not indemnify you from legal action of defaming people and libel. So you're out of luck, guys.
Let's see, they're when they get sued, they'll probably try to file under whatever it is, Article 203 or whatever it is, where the publisher of a website is not guilty for things posted there. But when you're the one who actually posts it, when you go through a review process, that doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, if you act as a filter and a moderator of what goes up on the site, you're the one making the decision. It's not that your hands aren't free of it. Let's see, Porn Curation said, you mentioned reverends, so I told the most outlandish experience I've had with a reverend. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Sometimes when we get a little past a story, it takes us a second.
Yeah, that's all. It's just like, because the chat sometimes is a bit of a time machine, and our attention spans and memories are, like a gnat sometime, depending. Or less if you're monkey. Let's see. Well, I'm not going to. Yeah, that's the gist of the entire thing. I'm looking forward to the creators of this website being sued up the yin yang for this.
Oh yeah,
because that's ridiculous. And so all types of dangerous. I mean, you want to talk about an online version of UVA or an online version of the Duke lacrosse situation, where just you put a name out and suddenly 20 people are at your front door chanting and smacking pots and pans saying that you need to be arrested or punished or something. Anyway, we're at the bottom of the hour, so it's whoa, sorry.
I do have one breaking news story I want to talk about real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Lawyers for Christine Blasey Ford says she doesn't want Kavanaugh impeached if he's confirmed.
Why wouldn't she?
Because she just wanted to tell her story and be heard and help along any investigation if there is one, and that's been done. So that's as far as she wants to take it. But there is one line from the story here that I think is kind of funny. Her lawyer speaking says, what I can speak to is when victims of sexual assault and violence go to their congresspeople, when they go to their senators and ask for their information to be confidential, I think that's a request that needs to be respected.
Go talk to Dianne Feinstein.
That was definitely a bitch slap at Dianne Feinstein. That's funny as hell. So because there has been talk, who was it? Pelosi? Some high-ranking Democrat said, if he's confirmed, we're going to start impeachment process immediately. Like, no.
Yeah.
No, you're not. And I'll give it up to Ford if she's saying, this, we've been through it, good enough. Well, good for her.
Thank you, nope, because she's lying. Yeah.
Well, she got all the attention she wanted. She's got hella book deals coming, $500,000 sitting somewhere. She's good.
$750,000.
Oh, has it gotten that high now?
Her two GoFundMe's are at $700,000.
Jesus Christ. And she's still not sure who paid for the polygraph, of course.
No, of course not. Well, her lawyers came out and said that they did during that hearing.
Oh, that's right. But she had no idea. She was just put in front of a polygraph and never asked a question about it. Okay.
Indeed.
Anyway, any other stories, Satsu?
Nope.
Okay, so we're off to MSS News. Guys, if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but if we don't, it's because of Kavanaugh.
Yes, it's because of Susan Collins.
Yeah, Susan Collins is the one to blame. Let's see. So this is a relatively breaking news story that I just saw. People started posting the last hour or so. Kind of sad. I wasn't really familiar with this person's work, but I know peripherally of them. This comes from New Fate 26. The Hate You Give screenwriter Audrey Wells dies at 58. Audrey Wells, the screenwriter behind movies including Under the Tuscan Sun and The Hate You Give, which premieres in limited release today, died on Thursday after a long battle with cancer. She was 58. UTA announced the news on Friday. In a statement, her husband, Brian, said, "Over the last 5.5 years, Audrey fought valiantly against her illness, and she died surrounded by love. Even during her fight, she never stopped living, working, or traveling, and she never lost her joy, wonder, and optimism. She was simply the most incredible wife and partner imaginable, and she knew always that she was loved by Tatiana, me, and the friends who were her chosen family." She said just recently, quote, "We're so lucky, honey. We got to live a love story. Who gets to do that? We will carry her forward with us forever as a mother, as a wife, as an artist and creator, and as a friend. She was irreplaceable." 58's too young for just about anybody, especially from cancer. That sucks. Thank you, Nope Nope. Honestly, though, if you listen to her testimony a couple of times, she has a Freudian slip where she admits that she knew Feinstein was going to release the letter right before the hearing. There are a lot of odd, stumbles in her testimony that no one seemed to dwell on. And it's really hard to tell. It's like, is it a Freudian slip? Is it nervousness? Was she mixing up thoughts in her head being in front of, setting aside anything you might think about her testimony, if you're just Joe Schmo normal in your regular life and suddenly you're sitting in front of a Senate Judiciary Committee in front of cameras and the entire world's watching you, I could forgive somebody fumbling a bit here and there, But anyway, it was a little odd. How about something that's...
real quick.
Sorry.
Harpo says if Kavanaugh could sue Ford for defamation, no, he can't. He would have to prove she was lying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which was the whole thing that it was a discussion I was having with somebody earlier. Neither one of them is going to have a good time trying to prove whatever they're trying to prove. So,
yeah, if you make an accusation that has no details that can be corroborated, at the same time, you don't have an accusation that can be proven false. It's kind of a catch-22 of just sort of throwing something out into the ether and not have anything to back it up. It's why it's so destructive as well.
Well, that's why I kept shooting down arguments where people were saying, that FBI report they said it doesn't exonerate him. I'm like, of course not, because that would mean somebody has definitive evidence.
So this one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. Okay. And this is from the Mirror in the UK, so it's that kind of quality. Winter penis is real, and size isn't the only thing it impacts, Sexpert claims.
Is that like winter vagina?
I don't know. Oh, well.
Yes, I read this article.
What's the first sentence? First, there was winter vagina, where apparently chilly temperatures can cause a drought down there. Excuse me. Now another theory on how the seasons impact our private parts has emerged, and it's bad news for you and your little fella. The cold weather can cause penises to shrink. Well, thanks for the news flash.
Oh my God. Is this...
Did you really need to tell me this? I've been living male my entire life, and I've seen what happens when I get out of a swimming pool and it's been cold, or it's cold out, or I wake up and it's chilly or something.
I guess they didn't see Next Friday.
Oh man, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. Right, well, I'm not going to read any more of that because that's not really news to anybody who's a guy. So.
Well, the weird part about that is if you're outside in that weather, yes, you have shrinkage and everything. I don't know anybody who spends most of their time outside in the cold, unless they work out there,
Yeah, if you're like Deadliest Catch guys or something, then,
Besides that, I don't know a lot of people who try to fuck outside in the cold.
Yeah,
outside
my dick is
Eskimos.
It's getting cold outside. My dick is just as nice as it always is.
Anyway, let's see. This one comes from Froggy. Also, Irate Bear's in the chat. Hi, Bear. Let's see. This one, I saw this one all over the place today. Michigan man discovers his doorstop is actually a meteorite worth $100,000.
Wow.
Damn.
A Michigan man recently learned that his 22-pound rock that he used for decades as a doorstop on his farm was in fact a meteorite worth over $100,000. The man, who asked to remain anonymous, obtained the meteorite in 1988 when he bought a farm in Edmore, Michigan, about 30 miles southwest of Mount Pleasant. As the farmer was showing him around the property, they went out to a shed. The man asked about the large, odd-looking rock that was holding the door open. Quote, "A meteorite," the farmer said matter-of-factly. He went on to say that in the 1930s, he and his father saw it come down at night on their property, quote, and it made a heck of a noise when it hit, unquote. In the morning, they found the crater and dug it out. It was still warm. This is how we get alien invasions, guys, just so you know. If you ever saw The Blob, then the remake, well, maybe it was in the first one too, but at least the 90s remake. And if you ever read The Color Out of Space, or you saw that one part of Creepshow, the first movie with Stephen King, you know to stay away from meteorites that fall into farms. Okay? Just keep in mind. The man brought the rock into Central Michigan University geologist Mona Serbescu earlier this year. She analyzed a slice of the rock and performed an X-ray analysis. Its composition, 88% iron and 12% nickel, proved it authentic, and an analysis at the Smithsonian verified the conclusion. A recent Michigan meteor event drove the man to the university to evaluate his rock's worth. You might remember that a widely documented fireball lit the winter sky over the state back in January. Hordes of meteorite hunters flocked to the state in search of a bit of the space gold, technically iron and nickel. Meteorites can apparently go for anywhere from 50 cents to $5 per gram, or more for ones containing rarer elements. The estimated $100,000 price tag puts the Michigan man's 22-pound rock at $10 per gram. Both the Smithsonian and a Maine museum are considering purchasing the rock. Oh, good, you have competitors. That'll put the price up a bit. Well, congratulations to him. If he'd tried to sell it earlier, it'd probably be worth less, but there you go. But again, if you own a farm and a meteorite hits your farm, stay away. Just stay away. You're either going to be eaten by a monster or turned into moss, depending on the situation. Bling.
That was my phone, sorry.
Somebody really wants to talk to Monkey. Does Grand Monkey ever call you?
No.
Oh. She doesn't learn how to do that
She'll
yet.
shoot me a Snapchat now and then.
Excuse me. Let's see. This one comes from Frosted Glass. After years of white male dominance, the Grammys invite 900 new diverse voters.
Huh?
Okay. It's the first major project by the Recording Academy's Task Force on Diversity and Inclusion. Oh, goody. After back-to-back years of failing to bestow the industry's highest honor on an artist of color, and a particularly bruising, though not unprecedented year of mostly ignoring female talent, the Grammys took action to address the deep-rooted racism and misogyny within the organization. The Recording Academy announced Thursday that it invited 900 new voting members to join its ranks, quote, a broad range of music creators, including vocalists, songwriters, instrumentalists, producers, and engineers, Billboard reports. Quote, all 900 invitees who were pre-qualified to vote by the Recording Academy are female and or people of color and or under 39. This tactic of flooding the voting body with individuals from previously underrepresented communities should sound familiar. Is a demographic a community? I never understood this terminology. No. You know, calling women a group or black people a community.
No.
Anyway.
Now you can have a community of black people.
Yes,
but all black
indeed.
people are not a community.
Yeah, this is my English major talking. I'm going to be exacting in my language as much as I can anyway, because I'm no expert.
It even goes beyond that, because that seems to make it seem like all black people have the exact same experience, and we've been over this so many times.
Yeah,
somebody on the plains of Africa right now has nothing in common with how Satsu's grown up. Just like, black people are not a monolith, for fuck's sake. Stop talking about them like they're one. Fuck.
Well, no demographic's a hive mind, so unless you're talking about the Borg, then they are. Or that giant, like the largest living organism on Earth is that like giant fungus growing underneath some forest in America somewhere. Something like that. Thank you, Cryptic. Where do books sleep? Under their covers.
Cryptic changes picture again.
And Point says, Scribe, a demographic could be a nation, French Canadians, the Quebecos, Could be considered a nation within a state. I consider them Canadian as the Anglo-Canadians. Okay. I don't know much about Canadian politics except that, Quebec wants to, like, secede. Well, anyway, so yeah, the Grammys are virtue signaling up the yin-yang. And obviously everybody there prior to this is all racist and misogynistic, I guess.
So what'll happen if, because like I wonder how many people they have. Like if they just brought on 900, how many people were there before?
I don't know. My other question is, since they're making this admission of their past bad acts and the discrimination with which all the other shows prior to this were filtered through, doesn't that mean they need to rescind all the rewards given out as illegitimate in some fashion? That would be a bigger step to sort of confess their sins, I would think.
Also, is another white person going to win a Grammy again?
Who knows? Taylor Swift, you're out of luck.
Taylor Swift won't.
Yep, Taylor Swift's out of luck.
Why not just open it up to everybody to vote? Do it like American Idol.
Because only important
people's
people
choice.
can do it.
Yeah, people's choice thing. Well, then you'll get the Russian bots flooding everything to make Milli Vanilli winners again.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. So a couple people sent this one. I'm going to read this because Monkey would love to hear this. Alyssa Milano. I don't have equal rights under the Constitution yet.
Yes, you do. Twat.
So this is another op-ed by Alyssa Milano. She's been quite prolific in writing op-eds the last few days.
Yeah, she's she writes for somebody specifically now.
Oh, does she? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. My name is Alyssa Milano, and I do not have equal rights under our Constitution. That is an amazing sentence, Melissa. I'm dying to know what rights you do not possess. I have a 3-year-old daughter named Bella, who also have a son named Milo, but oh well. She does not have equal rights under the Constitution either.
Name them.
This is how I began my testimony at a congressional shadow hearing on the Equal Rights Amendment. Hey, I am for the Equal Rights Amendment. Just want everybody to know. I am all for ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment.
Yeah, pass it. Put women back in their place.
At that point, I didn't think it would be it could be possible to feel more urgency about insisting that women be protected in our government's highest legal document, the U.S. Constitution. I was wrong. Alyssa, are you a citizen of the United States? If you are, you're covered by the Constitution, all of it. Just so you know.
No, she's not.
Oh, okay.
She said so.
Now, as I watch Brett Kavanaugh's likely ascension to the Supreme Court, it feels like a new kind of violation.
Oh my God.
Proving we need an equal rights amendment so that our justice system has the tools to treat women equally under the law. Okay. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing. It'll go on forever, but I am very curious to know, and we can talk about this later. What would the Equal Rights Amendment, what effect would the Equal Rights Amendment have had on the proceedings to nominate Judge Kavanaugh?
None. Not a fucking thing.
Zero. The Equal Rights Amendment would have abso-fucking-lutely nothing to do with the advise and consent process of the Senate on confirmation of a Supreme Court justice. Nothing.
She does realize that literally the only group that's like full on straight out benefiting right now as far as society goes with the sexes is women. So the only thing that the Equal Rights Amendment can do, if it's taken in a literal sense, is take away those privileges and put them where we are.
No, she doesn't. She's a moron.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't need to read more than the first paragraph there to know that she has absolutely nothing, has no idea what she's talking about, and is saying absolute falsehoods. But again, I am all for passing the ERA. I am all for making gender and sex a complete non-issue when it comes to family court and the military and a whole raft of things. Go ahead. I'm all for it.
Old Grouchy Gamer says, hey, Monkey, does she realize you stalk her on Twitter? I don't stalk her.
No.
I follow her and I wait for her to say exceptionally stupid things and then I mock her. That's different.
Let's see. So this one comes from Peter Stewart. I've seen this all over the place today. It's kind of cool. Sounds like the beginning of an adventure movie. Swedish girl pulls out pre-Viking era sword from lake.
Is she the king now?
Well, that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if the lady of the lake put a sword in her hand, she might be the queen of Sweden.
Could be.
Her name conjures up old Nordic tales about heroic accomplishments, and that's exactly what Saga. Her name is Saga. Saga. This summer did when she stumbled on a pre-Viking era sword in a southern Sweden lake. Saga Vanacek, if I'm saying that correctly, 8, was helping her father with his boat in the Videstern Lake when she stepped on an 85-centimeter sword in a holster made of wood and leather. The sword is believed to be about 1,500 years old. Mikael Nordstrom of the local Jönköping County Museum said Friday that the little girl's find prompted others to seek out long-lost treasures in a lake that had been diminished by drought. A brooch from between 300 to 400 AD was eventually found as well. Nordstrom said archaeologists are trying to understand why the items were there. For sacrificial purposes is one suggestion. And that's all they have. And then they have pictures of the sword, which, given the fact that it was sitting under a lake for 1,500 years, is in amazingly good shape. The fact that it still had its holster. Yeah, the fact that it still had its holster around it and you could tell what it was is amazing. Nope, thank you. Monkey, I don't stalk her, I follow her.
That's right.
There's a distinction.
There's a difference.
There is a distinction. Let's see, what else do we have? Just do one or two more here. We talked about the sword. This one. And Count Dankula tweeted this out today. This is absolutely amazing. This one comes from Jack the motherfucking Cockring. Soldier 24, cleared of rape, is ordered to pay his alleged victim £100,000 in damages after a landmark civil case. This is nuts. A soldier cleared of rape has been ordered to pay his alleged victim £100,000 in damages. Sean Diamond, 24, who was cleared of rape at Edinburgh High Court in October after allegedly sexually assaulting a woman in a Dundee flat while she slept. The case against Diamond was found not proven under the Scottish legal system that offers jurors 3 possible verdicts in criminal cases, including guilty and not guilty. What's the third one? But for the first time in almost a century, the alleged victim has been awarded damages when the civil claim she filed was not defended by Diamond. Was not defended. Why wouldn't
he didn't show up in court?
Well, that was
stupid.
I thought. Okay, so this is his fault.
Yes, this is his fault.
You see, the context I had prior to, because I only saw the headline basically earlier. I was at work, but okay, this is like leaving $10,000 in your glove box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they say why he didn't show up, but yeah, he just didn't show up.
Let's see. Last night, the alleged victim said she felt the civil case had brought her justice. She said, quote, "I feel I finally got justice. The trial coming out with the verdict of not proven was one of the most heartbreaking things I've experienced. I took an oath, I told the truth, and I was belittled by his counsel, but this result has been a massive relief. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted."
You got money, not justice, bitch.
Why didn't he show up?
I don't know.
They don't say. That's bizarre. Let's see. When the civil case was launched in June this year, Diamond was serving with the Queen's Dragoon Guards based at Robertson Barracks, Dereham in Norfolk. Well, I mean, I presume that if he was unable to attend because of military service, he could get a waiver or something, or at least some kind of extension. But I don't know. It doesn't. The story doesn't say. So that's really, really, really weird. Thank you, Point Curation. Roundhouse Kick pro-life story. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Satsu did a whole video on it. So in the premiere mode, I might add.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Yeah, and I mean, well, the I guess the extension of that is that he lost his job and that the victim is considering charges.
Nice.
He was a hairdresser, I guess. Thank you, Priestess of Keck. She hit it once on a rock. All the rust fell off, and it's in perfect shape. Then she goes and kills James Earl Jones. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Now, that I mean, that sounds like the beginning of a fantasy story. If somebody is wise, they're starting to write a young adult novel right now with that as the beginning point. All right, well, guys, we're going to stop there with MSS News. Thank you so much for all the stories. As always, you fill up our second half hour with your submissions. That almost sounded dirty.
It did.
That was kind of the point.
I'm so tired. Shit, sorry.
I wonder why that is. Why are you so tired?
The little one woke me up. It's her fault.
Right. Blame the baby. Blame the baby. So YouTube time. I'll get mine out of the way quick. I didn't do anything. I had planned to, but like I said, my little experience prior to coming home kind of pissed me off and threw me off my my mojo, and so I kind of lost the oomph. But I have found a TEDx talk, so I'm looking at that too. The thing I was working on, the more I watched it, the less I became interested in it. So I might drop it. We'll see. Satsu, what are you up to?
Nothing actively at the moment, but I did get a couple ideas during this stream of some stuff I'm going to work on. I want to do a live stream ish, or might do a premiere thing again on the that website that you guys were talking about, the little rape list thing.
The rape list.
Them scared.
Yeah, because I've been having lots of discussions today of people telling me like the notion that men should be worried about anything is utterly ridiculous. Because men don't have anything to worry about ever. Like this is women's worst nightmare. So even as like bringing up that thought or that idea is just ridiculous and downplaying women's struggles or whatever. So I figured I'd talk about that for a little bit, and we'll talk about why everybody on that list has no reason to be concerned about anything.
I'm so sorry, Jesus.
Don't apologize to that dead Jew. What are you doing?
Other than that, we'll be streaming tonight, playing for the Forest, I think.
Yeah.
If Monkey can stay awake long enough.
Right. And that should be fun because figured out some new stuff and been doing some research on it to figure out how to play it a bit more optimally because we just been kind of derping around. That should be fun. So subscribe to 2 Cents Plus if you haven't already. We'll be over there right after Lords of the Night. So,
and Monkey, have you worked on anything?
Kinda.
Okay. Is that like being a little pregnant?
Kinda. I was up till way too early in the morning doing yet another live stream, and God, this one was funny. It was just ridiculous, but it was funny. We laughed a lot, and I found out English people actually think there's a difference between microwaved water and kettle warmed water. I don't understand why, but it was fun.
Oh, I forgot to mention I'm banned from Twitter for like a week. So,
what did you do?
When is your ban up?
In 6 days, it says. I think.
And what caused this to occur?
I call the lying cunt a lying cunt, and I got banned for a week, an entire week, for calling somebody a cunt. But literally hours after I got banned, I saw somebody message Blair and called her like a disgusting bitch and said she hopes that something horrible happens to her and her boyfriend. She's still on Twitter.
Sure.
But, I ain't tripping, though, because, like I said, I need to take like a mental kind of break from a lot of this shit. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna be checking out politically a little bit and kind of focusing on other things for a while. Probably do some live streams and stuff. So
that's a good segue into internet fuckatry. So I assume then, Satsu, you have some.
I do, but I don't want to re-aggravate myself.
Okay. Well,
so Monkey, if
fine.
you got some.
I do indeed. Unfortunately, guys, these are mostly related to Kavanaugh. I apologize. I didn't do it. Did
Real
we
quick,
talk?
thank you. Real quick.
Go
Thank you,
ahead.
Terry Diamonis. Satsu should have called them as sensitive as a clit instead. Oh,
No, that doesn't go over well.
that does not work. We've tested that.
That was my 7 days. Did we talk yesterday about Bette Midler's tweet?
We did not. That was one of the stories that people sent. But,
okay, so it must have happened just after.
Yeah.
For those of you who missed it yesterday, Bette Midler told the world, women are the N-words of the world.
That is so fucking hilarious.
And that's actually how she said it too, which is how you know she's not actually an N-word, because she'd have dropped a word, because they're allowed to do that. But yeah, they're the N-words of the world. And on top of that, I also learned today, not only are they the N-words of the world, which, by the way, she did walk back and apologize. Go figure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where is it? I got to find this one.
Oh, yeah. Because people are like, how dare you say you're worse off than us? The oppression Olympics.
I have to. There it is. Motion to refer to all women who prop up the patriarchy as Susan Collins is from now on. She is our Uncle Tom.
Oh, what?
Damn.
So women are the new black people, y'all.
Dude.
Oh, Bette Midler.
Have you ever virtue
that was-
signaled so hard that you broke the threshold and ended up back at just offending people?
By the way, this one was Amy Westervelt, not Bette. Bette learned her lesson quickly.
That reminds me of there's this video, old like a silly video on YouTube. It's called Overdrift. It's like a fake trailer for a movie. I think it came out when like all the Bangkok Dangerous and all those kind of movies are coming out. And they're drifting competitor racer guys, and it's like, you're drifting too hard, and the guy drifts so hard he goes back in time and turns into a dinosaur.
Nice.
That's so fucking hilarious. So yeah, just a random offshoot plug for Overdrift. Just look it up on YouTube when you have a chance. It's hilarious. Anyway, moving on. Go ahead.
Nancy Lee Graham, tweeted out today. This is probably my favorite tweet of the day. Just pulled my car over and screamed gutturally for 2 minutes and then cried for 10 more. A Latina woman driving by stopped and asked me to open my door, and then she hugged me and said, I know. I would like to extend the same here. I know.
What?
Dude.
That's right up there with like, my 4-year-old just walked in and asked me, Mom, why is jet fuel able to melt steel beams? You know, what the fuck?
One, this is like one of the whitest women I've ever seen in my life. If a Latino girl knocked on her window, she probably would have shot her.
Oh god.
No, especially in today's day and age, she had be like, bitch, get them white tears out of here.
A Latino woman reached in and hugged me and said, I know. Are you out of here? Who do you expect to believe this?
I wonder if like these people, because like, you know, they're celebrities, but they're still people, or like they're maybe not celebrities, but just like, you know, people of note, and they still have families and shit. So I wonder if like family members were like with them when this shit like didn't take place, and they're just like, you lying bitch. That shit didn't happen. Like yesterday, I had a talk with my daughter about this. Like, you ain't seen your daughter in a week.
What else do we have here? Oh, have you guys seen that there's a lot of people trying to pin the Kavanaugh thing, Kavanaugh being confirmed on Michael Avenatti?
Oh yeah, that he went a bridge too far and made the whole thing fall apart with his latest client. Yeah, it was Sweatnick. Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, and I've seen this in several places. There's actually a story written about it, and I've seen several tweets about it. Avenatti's an idiot, and his client has fucked herself, basically.
Yeah.
But that's not the problem with Ford's testimony. It's not.
Well, hold on. Cease the Kavanaugh stuff just for a couple minutes, because I've got the whole deep topic is about Kavanaugh and the case of Ford and everything else. I just want to make sure that we don't repeat ourselves too many times.
Oh, dude, I can talk about this all day.
I know. You will.
I've
And you
done
will. I'll give you practically a whole half hour. Do you have anything that's non-Kavanaugh left? I got a couple of things to drop.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
You have a super chat there too.
yes, I know. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. My newborn came into this world, looked at me, and said, "Dad, put me back in until women have equal rights."
Jesus Christ.
That is the structure of every one of those virtue signaling. My child said something brilliant. If a child can understand it, why can't the adults in the room? Oh, that fucking bull! I hate that crap. Let's see. I have. It's not an internet fucketry so much, more like an internet mind fuck I had today. So I tweeted this out earlier, and I encourage everybody who is a movie fan to watch this, especially if you've seen the two movies mentioned after this stream and after 2 Cents Plus, maybe tomorrow. It's an internet, or it's a YouTube movie theory that states why Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Now, if you have seen Snowpiercer, you're going to go like, what? But the guy makes an amazing case for it. And as I watch this, knowing the two movies as I do, I've seen Willy Wonka a zillion times as a kid. Snowpiercer was really good, if you've ever seen it. Have you guys ever seen Snowpiercer?
No.
So it's the premise is that it's a sort of post-apocalyptic film. The world has frozen over, and the only survivors on Earth are human beings who are in this train that is perpetually moving around the Earth, or at least a large, let's say, a North American continent.
I've seen like half of that, and I got bored and left. Lady Monkey finished watching it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not for everybody, but it's a really interesting movie. It's got a lot of like analogs to class warfare and all types of things like that. It's got Chris Evans in it, and John Hurt, and Tilda Swinton, and Ed Harris, and all these other guys. Really good movie. But anyway, this guy on the internet makes a case for why that is a sequel to Willy Wonka, and it's as I was there are moments as I was watching this where my mouth was kind of agape, going like, huh. So anyway, if you're a movie fan and you've seen those movies and you can make the connections, I recommend it. The other one was, where was it? I said, oh, here it is. So this was posted by someone named Michael Lista. Michael Lista, let me double check on who this is. They're an investigative, they do investigative features, essays, poems, etc. They've got a blue check mark. I don't know if that means they write for somebody in particular. Anyway, they posted this. For The New Yorker, I wrote about Brett Kavanaugh crying and how it fits into the history of male tears from Odysseus to Thomas Jefferson to today. And just a little bit of a tangential thought I wrote. I said,
I need to step away for just a minute. I'm sorry.
What?
Okay.
I need to step away for just a moment.
Oh,
okay.
I thought you were interrupting me. Okay. Well, you did, but yeah. Anyway, I responded to this. I often hear the phrase lacking empathy as a rejoinder against those who question the validity of some positions taken by the extreme left. Thus, I have been struck at the demonstrable lack of empathy on the left for the possibility the man has been falsely labeled a rapist. And this goes back to a couple of videos I've done recently where, like, we're here to promote empathy is something, or how can we encourage or engender empathy, blah, 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 in relation to whatever our agenda is of the day. And yet, we've seen nothing but a complete absence of being able to stop for a second and put yourself in the shoes of someone, at least hypothetically, that could be innocent, being held up as a rapist falsely. It's really been something. It's really been a sight to behold.
Well, yeah. When I saw that, obviously the first thing I thought was, so men showing emotion is not good anymore. Like, it's because obviously there's a social shift that has been going on for a while, and the feminists are still pushing the narrative that men should show emotion, that our biggest issue, the biggest problem that men have is we can't cry like bitches all day. Like that's our biggest, most glaring problem, and the root of most, misogyny is men are just emotionless creatures. But the moment that any man shows any emotion, regardless of what it is, they find some way to turn it into a negative. So I'm just like, are we still buying this narrative, or are we going to stick to the fact that men just shouldn't show emotion? Because I'm tired of it.
So what do we want to say about Monkey while he's not around?
Fuck Monkey.
That's a little gay, dude.
I didn't say I want to fuck Monkey.
Oh.
I told you to fuck Monkey.
No, wait. No, that's a little pimpish. Anyway,
you walked right into that one.
I got to wait for Monkey to get back because he's all steamed up to talk some more Kavanaugh. And I've got a whole deep topic thing just about that. So
okay, well,
get that.
X Bubba Hotep says Monster Hunter is 20% off on Steam. So on Steam. So if anybody wants to play Monster Hunter with us, pick it up now. Now's a good chance because we play. Well, I like to play more than I do, but I will play more.
Also on GOG.com or goodoldgames.com, I think it's still there. Shadow Warrior 2 you can get for free right now if you have an account on GOG. So if you have a GOG account, I think the clock's still running on that. I think it's good for the next day, maybe. Let me double check to make sure. But if you ever played Shadow Warrior, Shadow Warrior 2, still 12 hours left. So if you, it's a first-person shooter. It's got a lot of humor to it.
Shadow Warrior, the first one was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I played the old Shadow Warrior, like the 90s one that was based off of like the Duke Nukem engine. And I found that game hilarious. I even was so much of a nerd, I bought the couple of novelizations of the character that they put out as part of it. So it's really odd for a game that's relatively low under the radar to have novels, but even the novels were hilarious. So if you like shoot 'em ups and FPS and all that kind of stuff, it's free. Usually be like what, $20-$30 or something. So there you go. Where's Monkey? He probably went off to take a nap. He's probably not coming back. Probably sleeping. Or he's just sitting there listening to us right now. We can't tell because he's got his mic off, which I could turn back on again, I think.
Trying to see if we talking shit about him.
That's right. Okay, well, we'll have a sort of...
I'm back.
Okay. Well, we can stop talking shit about you then.
Oh, you don't have to do that just because I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, so this was I saved this for Deep Topic because I knew this would be a topic that Monkey for sure and Satsu as well probably want to talk about. Someone at Splinter has put together all of the evidence against Brett Kavanaugh. I know that might sound odd to some of you who have been following along with this story, but I was curious. I haven't read this yet. Some people have already commented on it on Twitter when I posted this earlier. But I am legitimately curious to see what someone on the other side of the argument wants to say is the evidence against Kavanaugh. Because I'm honestly curious to know what the perspective is. So I'm going to read. I'm going to read the bullet points of this because there's a lot of preamble to this, but this is the person's case. So I'll read bits and pieces of it. Okay, so in Kavanaugh's case, it really does not matter which of these standards we judge him against. There is enough evidence to support a finding of guilt under all of them. Okay,
No, there's not.
So point number one, Ford's testimony alone is sufficient to demonstrate Kavanaugh's guilt.
Bullshit.
All right, that's the first claim. One of the arguments Republicans have repeatedly trotted out was that Ford's story was uncorroborated. First of all, this is simply untrue. More on that in a bit. Okay, but second, and perhaps more importantly, there simply is no requirement in any legal setting that a victim's account be corroborated. Well, you could be suborning perjury.
She's right. There's not. But in that case, it literally comes down to he said, she said. But
Sure, yes.
at the very beginning of the testimony, and this is something you should pay attention to, Ford is given a chance to correct her statement.
Mm-hmm.
There would be no reason for her to correct her statement if her statement was correct.
Right. Let's see. So, in fact, testimony supporting a conviction very often is not. This should make good sense. Imagine a scenario in which you are walking alone through an alley at night when you're attacked by a mugger. You shake him off and later visit the police station where you are able to identify your assailant from a lineup. There will be nothing to corroborate your identification in this situation. And yet, unless a defense attorney could poke holes in your story,
ding, ding, ding.
It's likely that your testimony would be enough evidence to sustain a conviction. Okay. If this was a court trial, and this is me talking now, not the author. If this is a court trial, it is entirely possible that someone could listen to testimony, witness testimony without corroboration, and be given contradictory evidence to that testimony and still find someone guilty. It has happened in the past.
Well,
but at the same time, the presumption of innocence and reasonable doubt is the standard at which we operate in this country, ideally. And there's more than enough reasonable doubt to her testimony, given what we do know.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, moving down a bit.
Well, here's the thing. She would be right. However, Ford offered corroborating evidence.
Right. Yeah, we'll get to that. Thank you, Gregory Hurst. My 5-year-old said, "Why did the judge hurt that lady? People should be nice to each other." Then she shoved a Fruit Loop up her nose and shit her pants.
No, my point being there that, yes, there can be simply a case of that's who I saw. Mm-hmm. But if you say that's who I saw and I took a picture, then it becomes a whole different matter.
Right. Let's see. It seems almost beyond dispute, oh boy, that Ford's testimony was compelling and credible.
Bullshit.
Okay, so the first thing I'm seeing here, and honestly, I was trying to come at this as sort of baseline as I could to say, okay, what's their argument? They are making way too many claims of certitude on things that are demonstrably not certain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they forgot something at the beginning of that statement. They were supposed to say, when you're as biased as I am, and then continued it on. So well, that way it would have made sense.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I wanted to come at this like, okay, I'm going to give this person the benefit of the doubt that they have something, convincing to say about this. But every statement they're making so far is a presumption of truth without evidence. So they're taking it on faith, which is,
and they're saying it's 100% definitively true.
Yeah,
because this is convenient for it to be so.
Let's see. A number of pro-Kavanaugh Republicans said they believed she was assaulted, just not by Brett Kavanaugh. This response is remarkable to anyone who has ever followed legal proceedings. Good lawyers can always find a hole somewhere in even the most honest person's testimony, and victims of sexual assault tend to have more holes in their stories. That almost went somewhere nasty. Than most, not because they are being dishonest, but because the extraordinarily traumatic. How about because of the, not because the, okay, but the extraordinary traumatic nature of the offense is powerful enough to disorient the brain. Well, if it's enough to disorient the brain, then doesn't that already damage their credibility? And yet, after 4 hours of withering examination, the Republicans did not land a single blow against Ford's credibility.
What withering questioning?
Yeah,
the fucking Rachel was nice as fuck to her, Rachel Mitchell. And the Democrats didn't even bother to fucking ask her any questions about what happened.
And the Republicans, the Republicans did not land a single blow against her credibility. What about the plane travel? What about the fact that she named her best friend as someone who was at this place and that friend contradicted the entire account?
Well, she stopped existing after she said that.
Let's see. Ford never flinched, never got defensive, never lost her composure, and never contradicted herself. This simply does not happen. Okay, this person is ignoring reality.
Yeah, they're completely ignoring everything that was negative on her part that came out. It just didn't happen. Like I said, they completely erased it from their memory. It's gone now.
Okay, here's the next point. I'm skipping down a bit. Okay, so all right, so it's a list underneath the bullet point. Here we go. There's a lot of corroboration for Ford's account. Okay. I guess this must be the meat of the argument, because I can't think of anything else they could say at this point. But Ford's testimony does not lack corroboration. In fact, it is remarkably well corroborated. Let's look at
what?
Well, here we go. Let's look at 6 key points of corroboration, plus another key fact the Senate could consider. Well, they're not going to consider it now. They've already done with it. All right, so here's point number 1. really? Okay. Her therapist notes from 2012, 6 years before Kavanaugh was a nominee for the position. 6 years before Kavanaugh was a nominee for the position. Given Ford's self-evident credibility. Self-evident? Okay. The briefly floated idea that she is a political hack out to sabotage Kavanaugh's nomination has pretty well disappeared. But I don't know if she's a hack, but the politicians using her were hacks anyway. But the therapist notes take it even one step beyond that. She would have to not only be a political hack, but a political hack with ESP to have pulled that trick off. She never named Kavanaugh.
I'm out. In 2012, hang on, I need a drink.
Monkey's getting drunk.
In 2012, when Mitt Romney was running for president, and they talked about who he might name for the Supreme Court, Kavanaugh was one of the people he named. So people need to stop pretending like, oh, she pulled that just out of thin air in 2012. There's a reason that name came up then.
Well, what Scribe just said, she never named him back then.
Yeah. She even said in her testimony, the therapist notes never named Kavanaugh. She never named the people.
Her husband swears that she said it during that therapy session.
But if she did, though, and her husband swore she said it, then the therapist would have taken note of that. There's no way that a licensed therapist would not take note of that if she said it to them.
Yeah. So the therapist notes alone don't corroborate anything about an accusation against Kavanaugh. Number two. As Satsu just said, the account of Ford's husband, another credible individual with no identifiable axe to grind or political agenda, except he might be whipped, but whatever, to support her claim that she identified Kavanaugh as her attacker in 2012. Several of Ford's other friends and acquaintances also lodged sworn declarations saying that she told them about the incident in some degree of detail before Kavanaugh's nomination.
No, what? Okay.
Okay. This is the third point of corroboration. I'm going to read these 5 words, and Monkey's going to have an aneurysm. The statement of Leland Kaiser.
What the fuck is she talking about?
The other girl present at the party, according to Ford, in which she states, this is Leland Kaiser, that she believes Ford's account of what took place.
She does say that, but she says that as her friend. She also said she was not there. She's never met Kavanaugh.
Right. Kaiser had said truthfully that she did not have any recollection of the party. Kavanaugh gleefully cited Kaiser when he thought she supported his version. But she does. But Kaiser's account is entirely consistent with Ford's testimony that no one else saw the attack and that she told no one of what happened to her until 20.
No, that's because you have to remember. You have to remember, she says she has no memory of ever meeting Kavanaugh. And according to Ford, those two boys wandered down into the living room where she would have been.
Yeah, and she said even that that Kaiser was the one that introduced them. This person is in la la. She's a liar. And I'm not even being facetious here. Yeah, I came at this when I saw this article. I thought, okay, maybe someone has put together, with a little bit of mental gymnastics, some justification for all of the certitude that Kavanaugh's guilty on the extreme left side of things. But this person is ignoring reality completely and the facts that have already been presented. Okay, number 4. We got to move through this. Ford's behavior. Oh, God, seriously. Ford's behavior is consistent with that of a survivor of sexual assault.
What part of it? Never telling anyone?
Certain partisan talking heads, unlike yourself, have suggested that her failure to report the attack in 1982 is evidence that it didn't happen, but in fact, experts on sexual assault will tell you it is absolutely the norm for victims to wait months or years before coming forward. Okay.
And how is that not a problem?
Well, it's not that it's not a problem, but it's also not untrue. All right,
I get that that's true, but still.
Yeah, that element is not untrue. That does not mean her story is true, but the element of people holding a story back for years or months or too long because of embarrassment or fear is not untrue. We've heard that lots of times from children who are intimidated or wives who were fearful of their husbands. So, but again, just because if that element alone does not then lend credibility to the actual allegation.
But let me ask you this with that, because we have heard that before.
Yes.
Is it normal for somebody to escape a violent sexual situation like that, leave a very good friend there and not call the friend the next day to make sure they were okay?
I don't know.
Not only that, only remember the specific detail of having one beer, but don't remember who took them home. Don't remember how they got there. Don't remember anything outside of that. What her parents said the day after. She was only 15. So her parents had to say something. She had to remember who brought her home. Like nothing. The only thing I remember is I specifically had one beer. That's it.
Okay. Some Republicans have tried to make hay out of the fact that Ford has a very clear memory of the events leading up to the attack and the attack.
She doesn't.
Well, it depends on what you mean leading up to, like the getting into the room.
She remembers going up the stairs. That is it.
That might be what they're referring to. I can't tell. And the attack itself, but does not recall how she got home after it. But in fact, this is exactly how a victim of sexual assault is likely to behave. The brain goes into survival mode after fear kicks in, and less important functions like forming memories take a back seat. In the words of Harvard psychologist James Hopper, quote, victims may remember in exquisite detail what was happening just before and after they realized they were being attacked, including context and the sequence of events. However, they are likely to have very fragmented and incomplete memories for much of what happens after that. If anything, Ford's incomplete memories of what followed the attack corroborate her claims.
Dude, they are crafting a perfect. Dude, they are crafting a perfect like recipe on how to falsely accuse somebody of something.
No, this is the God of the gaps theory. Okay, we lack information, therefore X.
Yep.
In the absence of anything that can tell us the truth, we are going to insert the truth that we prefer.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what that was just there. Okay. We've got two left. 5. Ford's description of the teenaged Kavanaugh as an aggressive and belligerent drunk. No, he was laughing.
She didn't fucking describe him that way.
She did not describe him that way.
Not one time, but that's what everybody says.
And I noticed there's no quote here saying that.
Nope.
It's just the author putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would love to see a quote where Ford described Kavanaugh as aggressive and belligerent. Now, the aggressive part, if her claim, if just taking her claim at face value, pinning somebody down and putting a hand over your mouth, that's aggressive.
Yes.
But she wasn't describing him as an aggressive and belligerent drunk. She was describing as two laughing jerkwads, or whatever. Anyway, and number 6, Ford's claim to have run in the same circles as Kavanaugh is amply demonstrated by Kavanaugh's own calendars. Kavanaugh's good friend Chris Squee Garrett was seeing Ford at the time, and he appears on Kavanaugh's calendar no fewer than 10 times during the summer of 1982 alone. So guilt by social circle?
Yes.
Okay, and the they don't list it as number 7, but this was their extra thing, I guess. Finally, Ford took and passed a polygraph examination.
Oh,
True, this would not be admissible in a criminal trial, but for the purposes of the Senate review, it is a powerful corroborative evidence.
No,
wait.
It's not. It's not.
Were the polygraph results submitted to the Senate as evidence?
Nope.
So we again only have her word and her lawyer's word that she passed this thing.
They were they were given a kind of overview from the dude who did the polygraph, but not all of the information. And the reason for that is because the Senate didn't call the guy who administered the test, so Ford's attorneys didn't submit it. Which is the dumbest excuse I've ever heard in my life. Here's the long and short of it, guys. And this is just the honest truth. The evidence supports Kavanaugh, and it is Ford's evidence. That's it. I mean, there's literally nothing that corroborates her story. Nothing.
Anyway, and then the second half of this goes on into what indicts Kavanaugh of his own testimony. And the first point on there is about drinking, of course.
He drank beer.
He drank beer. Let's see. Yeah, I'm flipping through this, and it's just like there were inconsistencies with his yearbook. What the things he was like, the Keg City Club, Devil's Triangle. Yeah, pieces of information that may or may not be contradictory to things that have nothing to do with the allegation made. So yeah, maybe I held up too high hopes that there might be something that's grudgingly, like, I could see where that was kind of what I was thinking was going to happen. I was going to read this and go like, okay, I don't agree with it, but I can kind of see where they're coming from, kind of deal. But no, it's bullshit.
No, it goes back to the question I put out before. What corroborating evidence is there? And there is none.
Yeah.
Zero.
And I just want to say, I couldn't care less whether Brett Kavanaugh gets on the Supreme Court. I mean, whenever a Supreme Court justice comes up, it's someone who I've never heard of before, and I'll probably never think about again unless or until a case comes up that is of interest to me.
Right.
And even if Brett, like tomorrow, if some crazy thing happens and Brett Kavanaugh is not confirmed, who's going to be up next for it? Another conservative judge.
Yep.
You know? And Trump would, and even though it's probably not going to happen, if I had to guess, if Trump gets another shot at nominating a Supreme Court justice, whether it's to make up for Kavanaugh or replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the off chance that she, croaks before the end of the term, I will bet it'll be a woman.
He's gonna have to. Like, he doesn't have a choice at this point, because they're gonna have to tear down and destroy a woman, and they will do it. He's just gonna this is the only thing that I can do.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, the Democrats are betting high, or in this whole gambit, we're betting high that they were going to get enough seats at the election to turn the tide and have all the power when it comes to nominating future nominee or justices. Now, I don't know what the election's going to do. Maybe they'll end up that way. But either way, I would be amazed if Trump decided to kowtow and not put up another conservative justice and just leave the Democrats to be the ones to be the obstructionists. So this is all much ado about nothing, really, at the end of the day. So whether it's Kavanaugh or Judge Joe Blow from Sheboygan or something that comes up next, we're just going to see the same parade again. Although apparently, the Merrick Garland thing, I mean, that controversy was peanuts compared to this. I mean, talking about trying to hold up a Supreme Court nominee. I mean, you can say that the Republicans worked underhandedly and in bad faith and everything else. You might have some points there, but holy shit, the Democrats have just come back with a vengeance, and in the most dirty, bottom of the barrel way. So if this is the new precedent, if this is the new standard of how you operate in a Supreme Court nomination process, as an observer, I can't wait to see what they do next.
Oh yeah, well they've already warned against it, right? They said, okay, y'all want to play this game? Wait until it's your turn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either the Republican. Well, if the Republicans are smart, and I don't necessarily credit them with that all the time either. If the roles are reversed in the next 5 or 10 years or whatever, by some way, they would be wise to take the high road, but I doubt it. Anyway, guys, it is your time. It is chat time. If you have questions, comments, conspiracy theories, if you have corroboration for Dr. Ford's testimony, I'd be happy to hear it. Please put it into the chat now. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of question marks afterwards so we'll know it's for us and not a conversation taking place amongst yourselves. Jean-Pierre says, why were the resistance mob at Mitch McConnell's house? Because Mitch McConnell is evil, I guess.
You have a whole bunch of people right now out there openly calling for harassment, stalking. It's getting bad.
Oh yeah.
Soon we'll see all of Congress protected by the Secret Service 24/7.
Yeah, people are literally announcing crimes on fucking Twitter. Of course, they're not getting They're not getting removed either because, it's okay for the right people to do that shit. I meant to ask you guys too, and we don't have to talk about this now, but maybe some other time you guys can fill me in on this. Somebody kept bringing up, there was like, I guess 20 witnesses or whatever that didn't get questioned by the FBI by what's her name? Deborah? Martinez?
Ramirez.
Ramirez. Oh, Ramirez. Okay. Yeah. Somebody just kept bringing that up, and I started looking it up, and I'm like, why does everybody keep bringing this up like this is important?
Well, it's just an extension of this wasn't enough of an investigation. It wasn't deep enough. You didn't take these other allegations seriously enough. The FBI investigation was too narrow, blah, 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 blah. They talked to everybody that made any sense to talk to who could have any direct knowledge of the accusations levied. All the other peripheral people they had on a list. Here's all the people they didn't talk to. It's like, well, they didn't talk to me. I have as much information on it as all those people that they listed do because they weren't there.
Yeah, a lot of the people that they want talked to about the Ramirez thing are just people he knew in college, like that idiot the other day who came out and said, he drank enough to pass out. Did you ever see him pass out? Well, no, I didn't, but he drank enough to. It was people like that, people who saw him drink in college. It's okay. Well, did you ever see him put his dick in somebody's face? Because that would be, at least related.
Well, one of the people that I was talking to kept saying that they were key witnesses. And I'm like, they have to be there they have to witness things to be a witness. Like, you just can't be a witness because somebody told you some shit. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Let's see. Skeptalk asks, blue wave at the midterms, or do the Republicans keep the House and Senate? Monkey?
I think they'll keep the Senate, and they might actually pick up a seat or two after all this. The House is a bit more of a toss-up. It is hard to say because this whole case, believe it or not, has helped the Republicans.
I know, it's weird.
Well, it isn't. It's fired up their base, and
yeah, that's true too.
Typically, what happens in midterms, the House or the party that holds the White House, they get a little complacent and they don't go out and vote. The other side is more fired up and goes out and vote, and so that's why you see the houses of Congress switch more in midterm elections, and you always see the president, unless it's wartime, you always see the president's party lose some seats. But they're getting the base fired up, and it'll be interesting.
Dude, they were rallying over on Facebook today, like during that thing, during the live stream. They was like, yeah, everybody who said no, your ass is out of here.
Let's see. Disturbing Zen says, what if Trump's next pick was actually someone the left endorsed? Then Republicans just pile on them with charges. No. If Trump's smart, if he gets another shot at nominating a Supreme Court justice, he should nominate someone from the center left. Because then he'd be putting the Democrats on the spot to go against their own principles.
Oh yeah, and they will absolutely destroy that person. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, if he wanted to make, it would be childish and petty to do so, but at the same time, he would also take a lot of flack from the Republicans for basically upsetting the whole conservative overtaking of the Supreme Court. But if I were Trump, and I were riding the line between partisanship and otherwise, I would certainly consider it just to see what would happen.
It's a good strategic move, actually. Just to watch them destroy their own. Yeah,
watch them destroy their own, put them on the spot. Because if they destroy their own, Trump wins. Mm-hmm. If they go along with it, then not only does he get his nominee, if there was any doubt about that, but also the Democrats look like they just rolled over for Trump.
Yeah,
and that hurts. That hurts them in their future prospects. So
yeah, and they can't. If he called Jesus down himself and was like, "All right, you got this. I'm nominating you," or whatever, they would have to there's no way that they could say that anything that Trump does is even remotely good in any way. They would have to fight it.
Moving on to something different. Night Ninja says, thoughts on loot boxes in gaming. It's gambling, basically.
It can be done correctly if all the stuff is cosmetic and doesn't change the game. But the moment it affects the actual gameplay is the moment it needs to be removed or toxic, I guess.
Yeah. The Creation Club for Fallout 4. Just about everything in that is cosmetic, except for things that sort of are small expansion packs to the existing systems. But then it's not a competitive game because you're all by yourself. If you're talking about like multiplayer MMOs or things like that, then you get into some shady territory if you start giving out things that give people a pay to win kind of advantage. So, yeah. That's why all the 76 stuff they've put out there is all just cosmetic. Like you get a patriotic paint job for your power armor if you pre-order it and things like that. They don't actually do much. Angela Ariaga says, Scribe, will you watch the new Halloween movie? Maybe in the future. A lot of the movies coming out in the next, like today and otherwise, I have no interest in seeing the Venom movie. I'm not particularly pizzazzed about seeing the new Halloween movie, even though it's made to be a sequel and ignoring all the other things from the 80s and such. Nothing is really sort of like, I want to see something new, I want to see something that's not a rehash, a reboot, or some kind of like cheesy attempt at maintaining a license. As long as Sony keeps putting out any movie that involves the Spider-Man universe, they reset the clock on their ownership of that license. That's why we get these rush to release Venom movie after the last Spider-Man movie, and then we're going to get a Black Cat movie, etc. Either do something brand new or do something that is true to the source material. Otherwise, I really don't get that enthused about it. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I mean, as far as the new movie goes, I'm not interested in it at all. Not even remotely. But I do agree. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of seeing remakes of shit that already exists. People capitalizing on stuff that's already been done. It's getting old.
Sorry.
I just think Sony shouldn't be allowed to make any superhero movies.
I would agree with you there. They're so bad at it. Miss Misa has actually seen Venom. She said it wasn't as terrible as she thought it would be, but it wasn't very good either. That was her review.
Yeah, I watched Angry Joe's review. They said the same thing.
Yeah.
Fucking who else? Somebody else.
Yeah. Anna Mangold says, Monkey, do you think there will be riots tomorrow or nay?
I saw people talking about it on Twitter. Well, I doubt it because it's a bunch of pissed off women and pussies. They're not going to do anything.
Well, people said riots incoming, and then Sofane was like, how much you want to bet that no matter how small these little small resistance or protests are, people are going to call it a riot anyway. And I'm just like, dude, they were riots. Like all the ones you're probably referring to where people were literally burning down cities like that. That's a riot. That's what it was. And that's what people called it. Like
I can imagine. So I don't think we'll see like Ferguson level, like destruction, that kind of stuff.
Nope.
I could see very small pockets of people using the occasion to break some windows and turn over some trash cans.
Hey, bolt down your trash cans, guys.
Yeah. Hide your kids, hide your trash cans. Other than that, I would be very surprised if we saw anything of substance, let's say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have been surprised in the past. But there will be marches and there will be people holding signs.
Lots of signs.
Yeah, lots of signs, lots of marching, lots of yelling. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Kavanaugh's got to go. All that kind of stuff.
If your children have any school projects that require poster board, you're going to be shit out of luck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So invest in craft stores now. That's the thing. Zeo Goat says, Scribe, would you see a movie based on the lore of Warhammer 40K? Would I see it? Sure. Do I think it'd happen or be any good? Well, I just have to kind of look at the Warcraft movie to wonder. Not that Warcraft and Warhammer 40K are exactly the same, but in a similar way, it's one of those things where it's like 40K lore is really fucking deep.
There's a ton of it.
There's a ton of it. I could see, I think something like 40K would better be served in a series, like a Game of Thrones type of thing or Netflix kind of thing. And it would have to be run by people who love that shit. Otherwise, it's going to get fucked up. I'm not a 40K fan by any means. I have friends who are all over it in college and otherwise. I know bits and pieces, but I also understand how passionate the fans of that stuff are, and also, like I say, how deep the lore goes. So it'd be a touchy thing to try to winnow down into a 2-hour movie. I think something like that really is a epic, needs a series or needs a planned out kind of thing. So would I watch it? Sure. I'd give it a shot if it existed, but it's not my go-to franchise or anything. What else do we have? Haper75 says, Scribe, do you know the original Shadow Warrior is for free on Steam always? Nope, but I was talking about Shadow Warrior 2 is on GOG for free. I don't know if Steam has that for free, but either way, it's only for the next 12 hours. So if you want a free game on GOG, which GOG has a lot of really good games. No pun on the name of the place intended. And all their games are DRM free, so you don't need to be logged into Steam or GOG to play them. They're just on your computer, and you can download them whenever.
He just talk about the classic one, FYI, Scribe, just in case you.
Oh, the '90s one?
Yeah, it's free on Steam. So
okay.
If you want to get nostalgic.
Yeah, no, I have that. I already have that on Steam. I got like for 99 cents at some point in the past.
Oh, okay.
I tried playing it, and it, there's something about the time passed between playing that game and modern games where just trying to go backwards doesn't work.
Yeah,
the graphics are like, oh, is this what it looks like? I can't make it any smoother. There's no like mod. Ugh.
For me, it's not even the graphics; it's the controls most of the time.
Yeah, it really is.
They used to be so clunky on so many games.
And you didn't notice it back then because you didn't have anything to compare it to.
Right.
Yeah. Jean-Pierre says, Scribe, when will you visit Japan?
Do you want to go to Japan for the toilets?
Oh, you mean the bidets?
I learned last night about their awesome high-tech toilets.
Oh, when will I go? When will I visit? I have no plans to visit Japan. I won't say I never will, but I have no interest or reason to at present. So if I do visit Japan, it will be in the future. RJ Bansma says, favorite classic 8-bit computer from the 80s? 8-bit computer? Mine's the Commodore line of 8-bit PCs. What about y'all? I didn't have a favorite line of 8-bit computers. I had a favorite 8-bit computer that was a Nintendo. So yeah, that.
Yeah. I didn't have a favorite back then.
I wasn't born yet.
Yeah. Pyrus Creed says, did you hear that the Witcher author is suing CD Projekt Red? No.
Yeah, I did hear that.
I didn't hear that. What's the basis, do you know?
Well, apparently they had some, like I saw the video or whatever. I'm guessing it had something to do with the actual written story. I'm guessing they aren't being properly compensated for it. I still got to watch the video for it.
Yeah,
but
that's what I got from it. I didn't look real far into it. But yeah, I thought it was a compensation matter.
Okay. Well, given that guy's got to be raking in something for the Netflix series coming up. And,
you'd think so.
Yeah, and the next Witcher, I somehow think they'll settle. I have a feeling if they want to not have the bad blood between the author of that series and the company that's basically made it a household name for a lot of people, I think they'll probably want to keep that relationship solid. So I have a feeling they'll probably settle whatever it is. Jenna P says, haven't had a migraine since September 21st. Sadly blacked out again, hitting the pavement 2 days until bumps and bruises appeared on my forehead. What? Jenna, don't
Careful.
be monkey. Yeah, be careful, please. Don't hit your forehead on pavement. That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Jacqueline Dusk says he wants more money even though he demanded a lump sum at the time. Well, if he's trying to retroactively revise a contract he signed, that would be different. But I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I guess we'll see. Aetherto says the thing is that they offered him royalties but refused for just a small lump sum, and he is salty now. Oh. Sounds like it reminds me of the Stan Lee issue where like he, you know, his work on creating Spider-Man and all his other characters was work for hire at the time.
Yeah.
But of course, he's credited, rightly so, with creating all those characters, but the limit of his compensation for it stopped when he was just given a paycheck. So it's like, you know, do you continue paying off somebody who has a legitimate claim to it? It's probably going to come down to a PR thing. It's like, like I said, do we want to maintain a good relationship with the author of these books and everything, and not?
It would, yeah. I would look at how my contract looks right now.
Yeah.
Is it worth giving him more money to keep him happy, or
right?
Do I have this contract kind of like a Sony contract, where as long as I make one every few years, I get to keep it?
I'd say they'd be well off to just say, okay, let's figure out a royalty structure and stop, you know, and then we don't have to argue about this again. It's like, as long as we keep making games, as long as people keep making TV shows or toys or whatever else, you get some small percentage, you get a check every month, and there we go. I mean, it might be more just a respect thing than anything else, because I don't think the guy's hurting for money with the book sales and all that. Let's see. Genti Maxi says, also, now that it's really last minute, but Satsu Monkey, I got the Forest game. Would it be a bad thing to have a screaming gen on your stream or not? Hello? Hello?
What's up?
Can you guys hear me?
I hear you. What's up?
Did you hear me read the question from Jen?
I did not.
Did I just cut out again? Satsu, are you there?
Are we having issues?
We must be having issues, because all of a sudden you guys went completely silent after I asked you both a question. So
okay, what was the question? Let's try this again, because I can hear you now.
Okay. Also, now that it's really last minute, but Satsu Monkey, I got the Forest game. Would it be a bad thing to have a screaming gen on your stream or not?
I don't know. We'll have to talk about it.
Satsu is gone. Yeah, I don't hear Satsu anymore.
Sorry, I ran to the bathroom. What's up?
Well, all audio dropped out for everybody.
Jen picked, everything went kind of wonky for us. Jen picked up the Forest, and she was wanting to know if we'd want her to play with us. I told her something we'll have to talk about. So,
okay, yeah.
Let's see. Looking to see if there are any questions here. I heard the question. Scribe is clear, but Monkey cut out. Yeah, that's kind of like, It's like the other two guys just dropped out for me after I read the question. Like, hello.
Yeah, things just went silent on my end, and then you were going hello. I'm like,
okay,
what?
That was odd. You can't play the Forest for the Gen T's, says Random American. Okay. Let's see. Questions. John Pierce says, is Stanley still alive? Yes, he's still alive.
The problem with more people we bring into the Force is that we're playing through Satsu's computer.
Right.
So the more people we bring in, the laggier it's going to get.
Yeah.
So we'll talk.
That's why I'm hoping we can eventually get our own private server for 76 when the time comes.
Sure, yeah. Because otherwise we're playing through somebody, and that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, or we're playing through the servers they have with random people coming in, that kind of thing. Although, if you don't play on a server that's got more people coming in, you technically have very few antagonists to go up against, because everything else is just a bunch of NPCs, which isn't necessarily bad, but either way. Let's see. Adam Mangold says, how is Brett Kavanaugh, I assume you mean Brett Kavanaugh, entitled?
This is one of those things we've heard a couple of times. We've heard a lot of people, he's not entitled to a spot on the Supreme Court. Nobody suggested he is. But he's also a rich kid, and that just gets thrown around because of that.
Well, I'm like, what did he work? Like, what's his work history? Like, what has he been doing all this time in order to be recognized as a person who could be on the Supreme Court? Because I don't really know his work history.
He's been a federal judge and a lawyer. He worked for President Bush. He in the White House. He was on the Star Council as a lawyer, and then he's been a federal judge since what, 2000.
Yeah, and he was a clerk for Anthony Kennedy, I think.
Yeah, he was a clerk for Kennedy.
Yeah, he's been in public service in one form or another for most of his adult life.
Yeah, he's not just some rich kid who worked at daddy's company and never actually had to work for anything. I mean, he's worked. I mean, this whole entitled shit is just nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see a Supreme Court nominee who was not worthy of the position, look back to George W. Bush putting up Harriet Miers. Okay, I mean,
Look at Kagan.
Oh, yeah, well, Kagan too. Yeah, but yeah, this guy. I mean, what qualifies someone to be on the Supreme Court? Is there a constitutional mandate that someone has to be this, and this to be a Supreme Court nominee? No. So far as I know, it doesn't. I don't think there's anything that says you have to have a law degree. You could just be put up there, right?
No, yeah, anybody can be put up there.
Yeah, but classically, no one who doesn't at least have a law degree and has practiced some kind of law is put up there. So, was he entitled to it? No, he was one person on a list of people, and he was even suggested back in Romney's run, as Monkey stated. So he's been around a while. He's been considered worthy of it by several people for a while now. You know, Trump probably inherited the suggestions of past presidential candidates. So there you go. And if Kavanaugh hadn't made it, you know, if he'd been dropped out of all of this, Trump would have just gone to the next name on the list of someone else who'd probably been around as a nominee floating for 20 years.
Yeah, whose life would be being torn apart at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to be in a meeting of Democratic senators today.
Oh, geez.
I bet that was fucking amazing.
You know,
they expected him to drop out. I guarantee you they expected him to drop out.
Yeah. Here's my question, though, and everything else set aside. Do you think after this, it's going to be a very easy decision for anyone else in the future to say, I accept your nomination, Mr. President?
I think that's still a job you want.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. This isn't the first time this has happened. We saw it with Thomas. We saw it with Bork. Man, Bork got borked.
Oh, yeah. Bork. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
What happened to Bork was so bad, we actually start using it for a name of people getting fucked over.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, it's not the first time it's happened.
Peter's Hades 313. I thought you'd help me promote Monkey's GoFundMe, Scribe Light. I am disappointed, mate.
Don't run a GoFundMe for me for that. God damn it.
For what?
For what?
He wants to do a GoFundMe to get me a PS4 with Red Dead.
No, guys. If we're gonna do a GoFundMe,
don't.
If we're gonna do a GoFundMe, we got to get Monkey one of those reclining computer stations.
If you want to do a GoFundMe, get me a midget stripper with big old titties and a tight little twat.
Are they gonna have to test it first to verify?
Test the midget.
Never mind. Anyway,
I'll keep testing them until I find the right one.
Let's see. Random American says, I listened to a lawyer once. I should be on the Supreme Court. Hey, you know, there is no qualification required to be on the Supreme Court other than the president putting you up and the Senate putting you through the advise and consent process.
The president of the United States could literally just find a homeless man on the street and go, I nominate him.
Yeah.
It won't get through, but that's what he could do.
Jean-Pierre, we talked about Bette Midler earlier.
Yeah, we did.
Let's see. Jen says, or a GoFundMe to get Monkey a mini elevator instead of stairs. That'd require like a whole remodeling of his house. I think the better thing, if you're gonna do something about his sheltering for a GoFundMe, you buy him a one-level ranch house with no stairs.
If you guys want to donate, donate on my nights and stuff, and that's fine. And do it because you enjoy what I do. Don't do it to get me certain things.
Yeah.
I appreciate the note. I do. I appreciate it. I really do. You're a wonderful person, but yeah, don't do that.
Let's see. 2-minute warning, guys. If you have any questions, get them in now. Let's see what I can get to. Let's see. Angela Arriaga says, what if the homeless man used to be a lawyer? All the better. All the better. He'll have a firsthand knowledge of the poor in this country. So when laws or situations come up dealing with the economy or homelessness or something, he'll have an interesting perspective.
He just better never have, told some woman walking by as he sat there in a pile of garbage that she looked nice.
Or ever drank.
Yeah.
No.
That non-drinking homeless guy.
Yeah. Let's see. Fair enough. I'll take it down. Wait, did you actually make one?
Did you actually make it?
Oh, Peter, no.
Peter, seriously, I appreciate it. But yeah, you don't have to do that, bud.
No,
you don't have to do that.
Point Creation says, what if Trump nominated a literal dog?
No, it has to be a person.
It has to be a human being, a citizen of the United States, so far as I understand it.
I don't even know if there's a citizenship requirement on it.
Oh, that's true. I am kind of. I was pretty sure there weren't any actual like job requirements necessary. I was pretty sure you had to at least be a citizen of the United States. I don't know necessarily natural born citizen, but a citizen at the very least. But I don't know.
Do you guys watch Two Girls One Stream occasionally?
I'm writing a piece of fan fiction to be read on the 31st for that show. Yes. And let's see. Genevieve says, I just trust and feel safe going to you about all my difficult things in my life. I love my talking heads and chat family. When I complain, it's because you guys matter, and I believe you truly care about me. Well, we do.
We do, Jenna. You are awesome.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to be well and safe and healthy. I always say this about the people I care about. I always want them to be safe, healthy, and happy in that order of importance. First and foremost, that you're safe. And if you can be safe, then you're healthy. And if you are healthy, then hopefully you're happy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you're going through some health stuff now. I'm hoping that you're safe. I'm hoping your health improves. And I hope that if whatever little bit we do and yapping in your ear for 2 hours, 6 nights a week, might give a little happiness. So hope things improve. And please be careful. Don't fall down anymore if you can help it. And I know maybe you can't, but then what am I talking about? Monkeys here, so who am I?
Random says, just real quick, I know we're at the end here, but there doesn't appear to be a citizenship requirement, so let's get Gen T in there.
Oh, where's Jen from? I don't know much about
She's
Jen.
Canadian.
Canadian as fuck.
Canadian?
That's fuck.
Wait. But isn't there a human requirement?
Oh,
well, with that, guys, thank you, chat, for joining us. Even you, Jen. Even you. Thank you everyone for joining us as always. Thank you moderators for keeping an eye on things, even though our audience is the best audience in the entire world, if not the entire universe. And thank you to everyone who donated. Your generosity as always, I really do appreciate it. And my stock of Dr. Pepper will not go unreplenished thanks to you. Remember, tomorrow night, we are on Monkey's channel per usual at the usual time. And remember, just after this is over on 2 cents plus in the next 15-20 minutes or so, Satsu and Monkey will be running around in the forest, presumably killing cannibals or presumed cannibals while they are acting as cannibals.
Fucking garden, they're dead.
Yeah, don't touch Monkey's garden because that would be a bad thing. So otherwise, guys, Monkey, Satsu, thank you for joining me as always.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone, your lives make us sad. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night.
I have an idea for the gardens.
Oh, yeah? What you
we
do?
learned, and I know we're waiting for, he's looking up the secret word.
Yeah.
They won't, the cannibals won't break the water thing, so we'll just cover it that all in water collectors.
Oh, like surrounded with
Yeah.
Okay, well, watering your garden aside, I've flipped to I'm just to make this part of my routine. I flipped to a random page in the wonderful book, Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, The Romance and Sexual Sorcery of Sadomasochism. And random page, apparently 188. And the secret word today is... all right. Plugging.
Oh, my God.
Where the finger lands is what I must say.